morning, everyone. We would like to warmly welcome our judges and the audience to the Inter-House English debate. Our worthy judges for today's debate are our respected Vice Principal, Mr. Mukul Sharma, Bubbles Ma'am, and Miss Sonia Nawab. Thank you for joining us. The rules of the competition are as follows. Each team will have 3 participants. The first speaker will introduce and define the motion, open the team's arguments inclusive of points of information, and will give specific speaker roles. The second speaker will develop the team's arguments inclusive of POIs. The third speaker will further develop the team's arguments inclusive of POIs. The speaking time and order of speaking are first speaker proposition, 4 minutes, first speaker opposition, 4 minutes, second speaker proposition, 3 minutes, second speaker opposition, 3 minutes, third speaker proposition, 3 minutes, and third speaker opposition, also 3 minutes. Points of information or POIs should be offered by all speakers at relevant times in the debate, and speakers are expected to accept at least one. Barracking, which is repeated and aggressive attempts to ask POIs, is strongly discouraged, and judges are asked to take note of this, both the effect on the speaker and the disruption caused by the opposing team. There will be protected time for the first and the last minute of the 3 and 4 minute speeches. No POIs can be offered during this time. The teams with the highest scores will make it to the final round.
The criteria for judgment is as follows. Analysis and organization, 20 points. Logic and evidence, 20 points. Expression and delivery, 30 points. Teamwork, 10 points. Clash and refutation, 20 points, which makes a total of 100 points. The topic for the first preliminary debate is, this House would put environment above all priorities in national interest. From side proposition, I invite Team A to the stage. The first speaker is Kritik Khanna, the second speaker is Arnav Thakur, and the third speaker is Xenia Brad. From side opposition, I invite Team B to the stage. The first speaker is Samya Gupta, the second speaker is Rashi Walia, and the third speaker is Aisha Bindal. Reply speeches will not be there. Now we begin by inviting the first speaker from side proposition to lay the foundation of the debate.
Good morning everyone. I am the first speaker from side proposition on the motion. This House would put environment above all priorities and national interest. I will be beginning my speech in 3, 2, 1. What is the use of a house if you haven't got a tolerable planet to put it on? Henry David Thoreau. Honorable adjudicators, my worthy opposition and esteemed members of this House. We live in a time when the very foundations of our nation, their land, water, air, and climate are being eroded with alarming speed. Against this backdrop, the motion before us is not idealistic, it is imperative. We, the proposition, stand in firm support of the motion. This House would put environment above all priorities and national interest. I will begin by establishing clarity through key definitions. Put the environment above all priorities means making environmental protection and restoration the central consideration in national policy. Above economic growth, military expenditure, industrial expansion, or short-term welfare policies. National interest refers to the long-term safety, prosperity, and stability of a nation and its people. We do not argue for a zero-sum model where the environment replaces all policy goals. Rather, we contend that all other national interests must be aligned through the lens of environmental stability. or they will collapse under the weight of ecological failure. To understand the real-time effect of this issue, it is important to address key stakeholders in this debate. First, current citizens whose health, livelihoods, and homes are threatened by environmental degradation. Second, future generations who will inherit the consequences of today's choices. Third, governments charged with constitutional duty to protect national welfare. Having said that, I will now present a few arguments. First, environmental collapse is existential, not optional. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. Every national priority, be it defense, economic growth, or public health, presumes a stable environment. Without it, there is no functioning society to speak of. Considering Pakistan's 2022 flood, nearly 1/3 of the country submerged, millions displaced, and billions lost, no economic policy could account for this devastation. These are not natural disasters. They are the
BOI. In times of war, in the face of global pandemic, or during national emergencies, should we focus on reducing emissions, or should we protect our healthcare system, defense, and economy?
In times of war are very short periods, in that maybe we can focus on protecting our people, but the long term and the main goal should be keeping environment in mind, because without that, there is no society to speak of. Second, environmental policy is the highest form of national security. The Pentagon itself has labeled climate change a threat multiplier. Rising seas, droughts, and food scarcity will intensify conflicts, create waves of climate refugees. The 2011 Syrian conflict was preceded by 5 years of drought, displacing rural populations and escalating unrest. Environmental collapse fuels instability, civil unrest, and extremism. Precisely the threats of
BOI?
national policy claims to defend against. Yes.
What model do you propose? How are you going to prioritize environmental needs over other national interests?
We will be prioritizing environmental rights while keeping in mind all other aspects of the economy like GDP and etc. Of course, we have to keep our country happy, and for that we will have the HDI. Environment plays a big role in all of this. Third, there is no trade-off between humanity and environment. This is the core misconception. Protecting the environment is not about protecting trees at the expense of people. It is about protecting people through trees, oceans, air, and the soil. When Delhi's air becomes unbreathable or Jakarta sinks beneath the sea, no citizen asks for GDP, they ask for oxygen, water, and survival. We must stop treating the environment as a sector. It is the stage upon which every sector exists. Panel, we are not standing at a crossroads, we are standing at a cliff's edge. I urge you to affirm this motion. Thank you.
Judges to please note that the speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 7 seconds.
Thank you, side proposition. We now move on to first speaker, side opposition.
I will be beginning my speech in 3, 2, 1. Environmental science tells us that the planet is in crisis. Political science tells us that people are too. The side proposition only heard half the story. Respected judges and my worthy opponents, good morning. I rise as the first speaker of the opposition to oppose today's motion. This House would put the environment above all priorities in national interest. From side opposition, Rashi will elaborate on the constructives and Aisha will conclude the debate. Our definitions that the side proposition agrees with are, according to the Oxford Dictionary, priority is something considered more important than other things and that should be dealt with first. If the proposition believes that environmental concerns should be prioritized above all else, then they are arguing that national security, economic stability, healthcare, education, and even humanitarian crisis must be treated as secondary. We ask, is that truly in the national interest? Our stakeholders today are twofold: citizens of the nation and the environment. This debate is not about choosing between them. It is about whether one must be elevated so completely that the other becomes expendable. Now, what does above all priorities mean in practice? Would we, under the proposition's vision, shut down coal power plants that currently provide electricity to over 700 million people globally just because they aren't green enough? Would we halt emergency relief operations because they rely on fossil fuels for transportation? Will we block infrastructure projects because they disrupt ecosystems, even if they also build schools, hospitals, and homes? The proposition's model leads to an absolutist framework that is unworkable and dangerous. We do not deny the environmental crisis. We accept that it exists. But we believe this solution, this rigid environmental supremacy, is morally extreme and strategically flawed. The proposition has not proposed any mechanism for their model, but we do. The planetary parliament, a revolutionary idea that acknowledges the interdependence of humans and nature. This body includes 50% representatives from human-centered domains such as economics, education, healthcare, and national security. The other 50%, well, that's the environmentalists, scientists, and guardians of the ecosystem, legislating on behalf of rivers, forests, and biospheres. The planetary parliament will assess all national policies, economic, defense, environmental, ensuring balance, not dominance. It can block or amend policies that harm either human or ecological well-being. It grants ecosystems legal personhood, but without rendering humans voiceless. Unlike the proposition, we reject moral absolutism. We build a framework
POI.
of co-governance declined, not eco-tyranny. We prevent eco-fascism where environmental goals override democratic rights and social realities. Now I'll be presenting our first major argument. Prioritizing environment above all is a privileged first world framework. First world countries are defined as highly industrialized and developed nations with strong economies and high standards of living. These include the USA, Japan, Canada, etc. Now let's face the truth. Developing nations like India, Ghana, Ethiopia, Sri Lanka, etc. face poverty, crumbling healthcare, underemployment, and educational shortfalls. These nations will still rely on industries that are environmentally damaging: coal, textiles, agriculture, not because they don't care about the planet, but because they're still struggling to survive. The proposition worsens the situation as, according to them, all decisions must first clear an environmental litmus test which slows down and blocks infrastructure, job creation, and industrial growth. Proposition forces global south nations to deprioritize their survival needs in favor of a green ideal that rich nations can afford, but poor nations cannot, as green technologies like solar and wind energies are still costly. This is not sustainability, it is green elitism. In our world, since we have a 50-50 model, we have representatives from global south and north. Thus, developing nations get representation through context-sensitive governance. Climate goals are adjusted based on national capacity and developmental status of the countries. We empower the global south to fight poverty and environmental degradation together. We build a future inclusive of sustainability, where ecological justice and economic dignity are not opposing forces but twin goals. In conclusion to the proposition, I say this: you don't lift people up by placing them under the weight of your ideals. You don't save the earth by silencing its people. Our world is not made greener by making it less human. Nature and nation do not compete, they coexist. But only if we are wise enough to balance, not blindly prioritize. Only then will we craft a future that is both livable and just. Thank you.
Judges to please note that the speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 25 seconds.
Thank you, side opposition. Now calling upon the second speaker from side proposition.
Good morning to one and all. I, Arnav Thakur, the second speaker for proposition, will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Today we stand on the purposes of irreversible ecological collapse. Forests are burning, oceans are acidifying, and the very air we breathe is becoming toxic day by day. We, the proposition, stand firmly with the motion itself. Presenting my first argument, the environment is the bedrock of national survival. What is a nation without clean water, breathable air, and an arable land? If a government cannot safeguard the natural systems that sustain life, what legitimacy does it claim? Prioritizing the environment ensures the long-term viability of the nation itself. Coming to my second argument, which is economic growth and environmental stewardship are not opposing goals. Our opposition will likely raise the alarm about stunted economic growth, but this is a false dichotomy. The 21st century economy is green. I repeat that the 21st century economy is green. Investing in renewable energy, sustainable infrastructure, and ecological restoration not only preserves the planet but creates jobs, fuels innovation, and secures long-term prosperity. Taking Germany's Energy Wind policy, it has created hundreds and thousands of jobs while reducing carbon emissions. Countries that prioritize the environment will be global leaders in the inevitable green economy. Coming to the rebuttals now. Firstly, the side opposition mentioned about the national sovereignty. National sovereignty versus global environmental goals. So protecting the environment is the highest expression of national sovereignty. It preserves your land, your people, your future. Global cooperation not only strengthens this cause, it does not weaken yet national resolve. Coming to my second point, which is of technological optimism. In technological solutions are vital, but without prioritization, they are too little and too late. Hope is not a strategy. Policy must lead innovation, not trail behind it. In conclusion, panel history will remember not our excuses but our choices. If national interest means protecting life, liberty, and the future, then environmental preservation must rise above all, not as a constraint but as a compass, not to sacrifice progress but to make it possible. For the forests we breathe, the rivers we drink, and the children who inherit our choices, we urge you to stand with the proposition. And with that, I rest my case but not my voice. Thank you.
Judges to please note that the speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 33 seconds.
Thank you. Second speaker, side opposition, you now have the floor.
A nation that ignores its people in crisis for the sake of principle loses both its humanity and its strength. Panel, today I'll explain 3 things: the current problem, why Props worsens this case, and the impact in both their world and ours. But before I start, I would like to ask them some question. 21st century economy is green. For whom? The developing countries, for UK and US, but not for Ghana. Also, the model proposed by the proposition team is faulty. We acknowledge the issues raised by proposition: global warming, deforestation, water crisis. These are real and serious problems. We are not denying that. But the reason we oppose the model is because they are denying an absolutist framework, where they suggest that environmental concern should override everything else. But in doing so, they ignore the importance of national policies, policies that protect jobs, support economic growth, and ensure stability within the countries. There must be a balance, which I'll be explaining further in my debate. We must care for the environment, but not at the cost of ignoring the realities that each nation faces. Now, the current problem. In real emergencies, government must act quickly, even if that means short-term environmental harm. Prioritizing human survival in such moments isn't negligence, it's moral leadership. Civil wars displaces millions. Refugee camps often go up in ecological sensitive areas. Waiting for environmental assessment delays vital aids and cost lives. Earthquakes and floods demand rapid action. Field hospitals, road, shelter. These may breach environmental laws, but inaction means death. Yes.
Do you not agree that improving the environment will reduce disease, famine, and resource wars, which in turn will help improve quality of life?
I'll be explaining that later on. Now, why do I decline your model is because you people support for an absolutist framework. The environment should be placed above all, which is catastrophically unfit for crisis governments. When every decision must defer to environmental outcomes, even urgent life-saving actions are delayed. If you're prioritizing the environment, the laws that have to be implemented will be looked at through environmental lenses. Picture a famine where aid trucks are stopped due to emissions, or hospital ICUs are unable to run respirators because in generators, these breach emission laws. Proposition frameworks delay help until it's too late. Now, the model that we propose is the planetary parliament is evenly split between environmental experts and representative of human-centric priorities. In delayed crisis, governments can request a temporary override of environmental regulation. If approved, the country can take necessary non-governmental actions, and afterwards the environmental wing audits these actions. Penalties apply if the override was misused. This mechanism ensures strong ecological governance while allowing flexibility for urgent national needs. The impact in our world: we act faster and smarter in emergencies. We don't let people die for symbolic purity, but both people and planet matter for us. Our model proves emergencies can be managed without abandoning environmental goals. This balanced approach builds trust and credibility, unlike proposition's rigid model. We agree the environmental must be prioritized, but not blindly or absolutely. Now I hand over to Aisha to summarize and conclude our debate. Thank you.
Judges to please note that the speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 5 seconds.
Thank you. We now progress to the third speaker side proposition.
Honorable adjudicators, my worthy opponents, and esteemed members of this House, good morning. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. I proudly stand here as the third speaker for side proposition and strongly believe that environment should be prioritized above national interests. Through the course of my speech, I'll be refuting their arguments and finally proving why we clearly win this debate. Now, first, I would like to start off by clarifying the fact that we, as side proposition, have a very holistic approach. We are proposing that we will integrate environment into our policy and keep it at the forefront to ensure that all of these multinational corporations and companies that are degrading the environment right now take accountability for their actions. The side opposition also mentioned that people are not affected by the environment. But panel, people are affected by the environment. Climate change already affects food prices, health, jobs. A failing environment disables all other priorities, health, economy, and defense. No flexibility can change that reality. Environment is impacting it, as the first speaker has already mentioned the example of Pakistan floods. Second, they propose a planetary parliament where they propose for balance, not domination. However, this exists in our society today, and let's just look at what's happening. Environment is degrading. People are not paying heed to the issue. This balance that the others not taken. The balance that this side talks about exists today without prioritization. Without prioritization, there is no environmental action, and there's no future that we can look up to. The environment panel, I would like to clear the fact that the panel is not a future luxury. It's a present necessity. Climate change affects food prices. It affects us directly. This is precisely why environment must be at the forefront. And also, they believe that only privileged first world countries can afford to invest in green energy and sustainable practices. But what about countries like Bhutan, Costa Rica, and the Kenyan solar energy? This is all growth because of sustainability. I will take that POI now.
Okay, so as we mentioned that green economy is only possible for first world countries and the ones that are developed. So what about the developing countries? If their economy is degraded and not taken care of, then how will they have even the funds for environmental conservation?
First of all, we never mentioned this fact, and I've already answered this. I've given the examples of countries like Costa Rica, Bhutan, and Kenya, which are thriving upon investment. And then our side has never proposed that, we need funding. We are just saying that green policy should include subsidies. They should include access to energy and empower our communities. Protecting the environment is protecting the poor, since they're the first people to suffer.
POI.
Taken.
How will your heuristic model work when there is a pandemic or a crisis?
Panel, we do understand the fact that in times of war, we can't always, we can't always just prioritize the environment. But then, so protecting your land people is necessary. Without prioritization, someone will have to look at the future consequences of this, future consequences during war. With that, I would like to end my speech. I rest on my cause. Extremely proud. Thank you.
Judges to please note that the speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 35 seconds.
Thank you. Now calling upon stage the third speaker from side opposition.
I'll be starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panel, environmental justice cannot exist without social justice. One cannot be green if one is hungry. Greetings. As the third speaker, I'll be doing 3 main things for you: furthering our arguments, secondly, providing you with rebuttals, and thirdly, the best case and worst case analysis. Panel, I'll be proving to you why we do everything that they do, plus a lot more. Firstly, let's talk about environmental colonialism. In 2022, the EU tried to ban imports linked to deforestation. Sounds green, right? Well, until you realize it would have blocked cocoa and coffee from African farmers who literally rely on that for their very survival. That is what happens when environment is placed above all else. Rich countries write the rules and poor countries pay the price. That is colonialism. Now look at Operation Sindoor, right? Just 15 days after a terror attack, India launched a full-scale response using systems like the S-400. Yes, they pollute. They cause land pollution, water pollution, and air pollution, but they saved lives. Under Proposition's model, that could have been delayed or blocked entirely due to environmental red tape. Would we wait for clearance while terrorists reload? And if a developing country wants to build a dam to feed its people or use fossil fuels because solar is too expensive for them, the proposition here says no. That harm is mutually exclusive to their side because our model is different. Our planetary parliament, mind you, which does not exist in the status quo, countering what side proposition believes, has environmental experts that share equal power with social and economic voices. We get justice, not green absolutism. Now let's move on to rebuttals. Panel, starting off with the main clarification. A planetary government does not exist in status quo. And what does prioritization look like, right? Prioritization means that you're putting one need above every other need in society, which means regardless of what proposition is trying to pose on us, you are going to start looking at everything through an environmental lens. Even if we agree that in the end, you are going to try benefiting humans, that benefit is going to get delayed at least 2 times more because you now have an environmental stick on your head telling you that you need to save the environment first. Starting off with our first main clash, where side proposition mentions that if there is no planet, there are no priorities. Now, let's talk about how water and climate change have come into being. Now, water, etc., have become a human problem. The reason that we now care about fresh water, etc., is because it has now started affecting humans. Understand that we have a 50-50 model where there are environmental experts sitting in 50% of the government who are talking about the environment. We are not deprioritizing the environment. We are balancing it with other vital interests like national security and economic survival. Saying no planet, no priorities is rhetorically catchy, but it ignores the real world complexity. A government facing famine or war doesn't get the luxury of purity politics. Just because you've given us a few examples doesn't mean countries like Venezuela don't exist who are going in economic decline. What about these countries in your side of the case?
POI.
Accepted.
So how do you ensure that in your the model that you propose that you will not get distracted by the short-term benefits and not prioritize
Thank
the
you for your
environment
POI. I have
at all?
understood your question. Talking about short-term versus long-term, right? They have claimed that prioritizing the environment helps think long-term. Fine, we agree. But long-term thinking does matter, but also so does short-term survival. A government that refuses to build a dam because it displaces fish while villages die of drought isn't thinking ahead. It is failing people now. If there are no people, there is no priority. We pose the same question to their side, which is something that is better understood and better solved on our 50-50 planetary model. Thank you.
Judges to please note that the speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 19 seconds.
Thank you, teams. Now, I would like to request you to join the audience. This house believes in the diminishing role of parents in their child's education. From side proposition, I invite Team C to the stage. The first speaker is Rinaz Gulati, the second speaker is Amira Bansal, and the third speaker is Rubaniyat. From side opposition, I invite Team D to the stage. The first speaker is Shivang Kakkar, the second speaker is Vedansh Rajput, and the third speaker is Tashween Sirfiki. Now, we begin by inviting the first speaker from side proposition to lay the foundation of the debate.
I will be starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. When is the last time your parents gave genuine feedback in a parent-teacher meeting? Greetings to the House at large. Today, I, as the first speaker of House Proposition for the motion, this House believes in the diminishing role of parents in children's education. Our second speaker will focus on rebutting the constructives of the first speaker of the opposition and providing more arguments. Finally, our third speaker will reconstruct our case, refute arguments of opposition, and identify main clashes. Throughout the course of my speech, I will define key terms, give our side's burden, provide a stakeholder analysis, characterize the world in terms of our motion, and enlist the key constructive of proposition. To clarify our position, I will define the key terms as follows. Diminishing role, a reduction in the frequency, intensity, or significance of parental involvement in children's educational processes. Children's education, the formal and informal learning experiences children undergo, encompassing school-based instruction, extracurricular activities, and home-based learning. Our burden is to demonstrate that the direct involvement of parents in the children's education has decreased over time. This decline is evident across various dimensions, including academic support, school engagement, and curriculum influence. When is the last time your parents took genuine interest in your education? The primary stakeholders affected by this diminishing role include parents. Their influence in educational decisions and support is waning. Children, they experience a shift in the dynamics of their learning environment. Educational institutions, schools are adapting to this change, decline, often taking on roles traditionally held by parents. In our world, the traditional model of parental involvement in education is evolving. Factors such as professionalization of teaching, technological advancements, and societal changes are redefining the roles of parents in their children's learning journey. I will focus on two main arguments: professionalization of education and technological advancements. Professionalization of education. The establishment of formal education system and the specialization of teaching have diminished the direct involvement of parents in academic instruction. Teachers possess expertise in pedagogy and subject matter, enabling them to provide a structured and comprehensive educations that parents may not be equipped to offer. Panel, do not confuse parenting with pedagogy. They are two completely different things. Technological advancements. The advancement of digital learning platforms and online resources has transformed how children access information. With the availability of educational apps, websites, and virtual classrooms, parents are increasingly relying on technology for learning, reducing the need for parental guidance in academic matters. I ask you, wouldn't you just watch a YouTube video on a topic that you don't understand rather than asking your parents? Data indicates a significant decline in parental engagement as children progress through their educational journey. For instance, a survey of 2,000 parents revealed that 60% of parents are intentionally diverging from the parenting styles of their own parents, focusing more on mental and emotional health than academic achievement. These statistics reflect a tangible shift in parental involvement over time. In conclusion, while parents continue to play a crucial role in their children's lives, the diminishing role of parents in direct education and instruction aligns with the advancements in professional education, technology, and the emphasis on fostering independent learning. Now, I'm not talking about parenting. Parents do have a say on what their children might and might not do. I'm strictly talking about education here. We urge you to support the motion, recognizing the need for a balanced and forward-thinking approach to children's education. Thank you.
The judges to note, the speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 8 seconds.
Thank you, side proposition. We now move on to first speaker, side opposition.
I'll be starting with my speech in the count of 3, 2, 1. As Mahatma Gandhi said, there is no school equal to a decent home and no teacher equal to a virtuous parent. Greetings to the house. Imagine an anxious child who who is preparing for an exam and has the exam tomorrow. What does side proposition expect? That a digital tutorial will sense their shaky voice and ask and pause if they're okay? Not at all. It is the simple words of their parents that, son, we are really proud of you and you have worked really hard, that helps them to regain their confidence. Panel, as the first speaker, I'll give the definitions, the characterization, and then move on to my arguments. While my second speaker will focus on refutation and on the argument about moral values instilled by parents. My third speaker will give you clashes and also focus on the argument about digital gatekeeping. Now, panel, what does education mean? It is a continuous learning and training process in which parents support their children not only in the early years, but also during their adulthood. Secondly, the diminishing role of parents is a term which refers to the increasing trend of depending only on permissive approach towards learning, right? Parents, this looks like parents never being involved in the, rarely offering support during the stressing and distressing times, but only offering support in the basic learning stages. Our burden is to prove to you that parents play an important role in education, without which education is ineffective. Before coming on to my characterization, a few rebuttals. They talk about specialized teacher, which means that parents play a smaller role. But I would like to remind you that while teachers can teach you historical lessons, it is the parents who will motivate you to learn lessons for life from that history. For example, parents will tell you the lessons of courage, curiosity, and independence, and that is integral to the confidence required for a successful education journey. Secondly, digital platforms. Digital platforms only give information, and without parents, a child does not have the curiosity and does not have the motivation to grasp all the information available on the internet. Now coming on to my characterization. Understand that there is a huge shift when it comes to parenting styles of the Gen Z and the millennials. We see that parents in the present world are so emotionally aware, but parents of the earlier times, they were completely rigid and authoritative with their approach about behavior. Now, they accept things like gender identity and learning disabilities like dyslexia. In fact, during COVID-19, parents had the opportunity to engage themselves in the education which was completely online, and that is a direct proof which shows that parents have increased their role in education. Now, panel, coming on to my first argument about increased emotional support by parents. Adolescents face complex problems and peer comparison. A teenager may get bullied and feel ashamed. Now, will he go to social media, a place where vulnerability is met with cruelty and mockery? Of course not. He will go to his parents, because when the world feels harsh, parents are the soft hands that steady the trembling heart. Coming on to my second argument, that there is increased academic success and reinforcement of concepts. Our parents not only explain complex concepts to us, but also motivate us to revise topics day by day. I remember that I had personally not performed well in one of my exams last year. When I went to my teacher, she just told me my mistakes, something I already knew having seen my paper. But it was only my parents who told me that I should manage my time better and taught me how to do that during the exam. Panel, secondly, understand that we live in a world where there are a plethora of career opportunities, and this makes the decision extremely confusing. Our parents have the exposure to figure out what suits us, but often we lack the enough knowledge to figure out that ourselves. Therefore, they can support us in subject choices and help with the documentation for higher education. In the end, the support from teachers which they are propagating for is only academically oriented, but parents help you keep motivated. Education is a partnership between parents and school, just like a relay race. Schools may hand the baton, but it is the parents who keep you running. And with that, I'm very proud to oppose.
The judges to know that the speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 14 seconds.
Thank you, side opposition. Now calling upon the second speaker from side proposition.
Before beginning, I would like to ask everyone here a question. How many times have you, as a student, resorted to AI before your parents to ask them a doubt about your coursework? Greetings to the August gathering at large. Today I, Amira Bansal, the second speaker for side proposition, stand to strengthen our case, rebut the opposition, and prove beyond reasonable doubt that the role of parents in children's education is actively diminishing. Just to clarify, our burden is not to prove whether this is good or bad. We just need to prove that it is happening. And opposition, it is. I would also ask the opposition to recognize the difference between parenting and pedagogy, considering the fact that their entire case is built on parenting. First, on to rebuttals. The opposition might come and romanticize parenting and say that parents are still deeply involved. Panel, that is correlation and not causation. In theory, sure. But in practice, involvement has plummeted. They might say that parents attend PTMs, they help in homework. But we ask, consistently, across income levels, in working households, because real world data says otherwise. They may argue that parents know their child best, but knowing your child is not the same as educating them. That panel is a trained profession now. This debate is about who is educating the child, not who loves them. And in that space, parents are no longer the primary actors. For our main points, structural shift in who's teaching. Education today is institution-led, not parent-led. Kids go from school to tuition to online apps. It's no longer about mom and dad. 72% of middle school children in India now rely on private coaching. Decline. That's not parental help. That is simply outsourcing. Number two, parents today simply don't have the bandwidth. You cannot be involved if you don't have the time. According to PLFS 2023, nearly half of urban parents work 10 plus hours a day. And panel, this does not involve commuting, second jobs, or household duties. With all of this hand, education is bound to take a backseat. This is a systematic constraint and not a parenting failure. This is not criticism, it is simply reality. This modern economic structure just does not allow for hands-on academic parenting. Number three, tech is officially the new homework buddy. When kids need help, they ask Google, they ask YouTube, they ask ChatGPT. It's no longer about their parents. And that is not anecdotal. It's 80% of students using tech tools independently. We are living in the era of digital delegation. Number four, the schools are doing it all. The first speaker came and talked about how parents play such a vital role in choosing careers. But schools do all of that now. We have career counselors. Whether be it mental health, life skills, college prep, schools are taking over. Especially in Vivek, we have PD classes every week for the same purpose. Parents are no longer the primary guides. This system has officially adapted without them. So members of the house, let's not confuse emotion with involvement. Parents will always love their children. That is a given. But when it comes to education, to academic support, content knowledge, learning processes, the baton is being passed to schools, to tutors, to tech. This system is evolving beyond the basic kitchen table. It is no longer forecast, it's a fact. This is not a question of teachers versus parents. It's a question of whether or not their role is diminishing. And panel, it is. And for that reason, I believe that team proposition takes this debate. That's not speculation, it is simply reality. Thank you.
The judges to know that the speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 37 seconds.
Thank you. Second speaker, side opposition, you now have the floor.
My speech starts at the reverse countdown of 3, 2, 1. Respected panel and audience, just imagine being thrown in a complex game like Minecraft or Elden Ring, but the tutorial only teaches you how to move. Sounds unfair, right? You have no idea how to open the map. You have no idea how to use those super combo moves. That is unfair, panel. Don't you see the connection here? In this situation, we set someone up for failure by denying them the basic support that he or she needs to succeed. That's exactly what diminishing the role of parents in education looks like. Also, I would like to start by telling you judges that they have not accepted even one single POI of ours and have also declined our POIs and not even asked one single POI. That shows that how strong our content is till now. Respective audience, just imagine us, students of Vivek High School during peak exam pressure, struggling without our parents, constantly waking us up at 6 a.m. or struggling without our parents who are not quizzing us on those tricky biology chapters. Never, panel, never. I cannot do this and I know you guys also cannot. Panel, Panel, before we move forward with this debate, decline right now. Panel, before we move forward with this debate, a crucial clarification must be made. Involvement in education 50 years ago meant choosing your child's career. Doctor, engineer, disgrace. Such parenting is what our opponents think we follow. In today's involvement in education, maybe looks like making sure that my beta is studying right now, even through a simple phone call. It's not that you have to be at home. Also, making sure that emotional intelligence is there in my son and I can talk with him and he feels free talking with me. We have evolved, panel, but our opponents cannot face that. The environment that we propose is the one where the child has that independence. The child feels that yes, even in distress situations, my parent has my back. Think of an example of a child holding a pencil for a first time. The parent teaches him, shows him, hold this like this, beta, do it like this, and teaches him how to write. But eventually, when the child's writing evolves from a pencil to pen, the parent therefore is now able to leave them and make sure that the child is able to write. Now let me tell them their world. In their world, the parent is never even there to teach you how to write. He just gives the pencil, hold it like this, beta, and disappears. Now coming to a major constructive. Panel, instilling of moral values. Panel, what is education to you? Is it just about ratifying entire books and giving tests? Not at all. The debate says education. And education has a broad definition which our opposition conveniently ignores. Education has a lifelong journey which shapes our moral values. Then they bring out about AI. They are replacements for our parents, AI, online teachers, such things. What they completely ignore is rural teachers, the rural people living in the poor areas. Do they have signal? Do they have technology to do all of this? Not at all, panel, and they are not taking them in account at all. The education diminishing role will happen for everyone, not only for the upper class or for the privileged people that we are to go to Vivek High School. Now, panel, let me summarize the case in just 3 pointers. Number 1, parents are useless. Number 2, parents are useless. And number 3, guess what again? Parents are useless. I think these people have not heard about EQ at all. I think these people just care about the IQ of a parent, which is not the way you should go, panel, at all. In conclusion, what proposition ignores is that education is a shared commitment between dedicated teachers, passionate students, and active parents with high expectations. With that, I rest my case, but not my cause. Proud to oppose.
The judges to know that the speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 14 seconds.
Thank you. Now calling upon the stage the third speaker from side proposition.
Panel, can we have a minute to discuss our thoughts?
I'll be starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Nelson Mandela. This powerful tool must be in the hands of trained professionals and evolving institutions, not solely in the hands of parents. Greetings to the House at large. As the third speaker, I'll start by proving some points of contention for the House. First, let us step back and look at the real world shift happening around us. A shift that clearly proves the diminishing involvement of parents in their child's education. The opposition side has been mentioning that education begins at home. True, but that phase is short-lived. As education evolves, the transition is withheld to the teachers and the institutions, not solely the parents. Whereas modern education systems are designed to function without parental aid. For example, during COVID-19, we all attended our classes online and gave our exams online, all without the help of parental aid. As stated by the previous 2 speakers of my house, most parents started working full-time jobs and have limited time or energy. How can they help their child with homework when they only have a few hours of quality time? The reason why our side is clearly taking the case is because the other side has failed to acknowledge that digital learning has taken the wheel, and there's a rise of institutional education and professionalism, also considering the fact that you have denied our POIs. Now I'll present some points of rebuttal to the opposing team's arguments. They mention that parents teach lessons of courage and curiosity. Panel to know that institutions and schools these days provide more career counseling and more ethics than a parent can ever will. They said that only parents can help their child in deciding their careers. Is this really the best option? Is it really justified, considering that parents have conventional mentalities which are yet to be evolutionalized? For example, choosing the best careers as engineers or doctors. I would like to reinstate the motion by emphasizing that it's about who is educating the child, not simply who is loving them.
POI.
Yes.
You talk about this motion is who is educating the child, but could you please tell me with the definition of education being moral values and how a person is? Can your teacher actually do that to you? Can your teacher actually teach you that?
Yes, that is happening even in Vivek. Even in Vivek, don't you think the personality development teachers are teaching moral values and ethics? Anyways, back to my speech. The opposition's entire case is built on parenting, not who is educating their child. Words of encouragement are built, yes, but who is putting those words into action? Who is teaching their child? Who is informing them about what is happening in the real world? Rival parents, I apologize, as mentioned by the side opposition, rural parents are not helping their children in education. How can they help their child in further education when they themselves have not attended schools, they're themselves not educated? I would like to reinstate that, that the opposition has clearly failed to acknowledge the motion and that we are taking the case. Thank you so much.
The judges should know that the speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 7 seconds.
Thank you. Third speaker side opposition, you now have the floor.
I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Behind every young child who believes in themselves is a parent who believed first. If we are to claim today that the role of parents in education is diminishing, we must ask, are we watching less involvement or are we simply witnessing a change in form? Esteemed judges and respected opponents, I rise as the third speaker of the opposition to make one thing clear. Parents are not becoming irrelevant. They are simply becoming indispensable in new ways. The proposition puts the whole burden of education on AI. In today's digital jungle of AI tools, distractions and online dangers, parents as digital gatekeepers are the first line of defense. Schools can spread awareness, yes, but parents set screen time rules and protect the children from cyberbullying and other threats. This is not just screen time management, it is 21st century digital literacy education. Accepted.
How is screen time management related to education?
What about digital literacy education? That is also part of education. Education is basically defined as the process of imparting knowledge, skills, and values, and this comes under values and skills. That is the proper definition of education.
Follow up.
No. A 2021 study by Common Sense Media found that children with involved parents develop healthier digital habits and better critical thinking skills online. The proposition asked how many times parents actually support children. From science fairs to football trials, it's often a parent's support and not a school's push that reveals a child's true potential. Take India's chess prodigy, R. Pragnananda. His mother traveled with him, balanced his academics, and looked after his well-being. When schools provide the stage, it's parents who invest time, money, and care. Calling this a diminishing role isn't just wrong. It's a complete misunderstanding of how success stories are built. How can proposition say that involvement has declined? Where, according to the National PTA and UNESCO 2022 report on health, managing screen time, and supporting extracurricular exploration, making it broader than ever. Throughout the debate, my teammates have emphasized how modern parenting has evolved, bridging generational gaps, upholding moral values, and embracing children's struggles, and adapting to the unique mindset of Gen Z. Today's parents aren't just rule setters, they're learners, guides, and listeners. This is parenting, redefined in 21st century. Now to the two key clashes and rebuttals that have defined today's debate. First is schools and AIs versus parent in modern education. The proposition claims that the professionalization of education and therefore parents are now useless. Counselors are a highly transactional relationship. Teachers with 30 students cannot take care of everyone's IQ and EQ. However, we have an upper hand here, as we have already proved through the example of R. Pragnananda's mother, that parental involvement provides essential emotional support and motivation that schools cannot offer. There's no Wi-Fi in rural areas. In propositions world, there will be no education for these children as well. Now, the second clash is time involvement in education as well as the proper definition of education. Involvement is not measured in quantity but in quality. Many parents still check reports, attend PTMs, and plan schedules. If anything, working parents work harder to stay connected, and that's not diminishing, that's dedication. Also, the proper definition of education, as I already mentioned, is the process of imparting knowledge, skills, and values. The proposition is only focusing on the IQ level of the education and not the EQ. Through the above two clashes, it is crystal clear that the proposition arguments are vague and baseless because they ignore the real important role parents play in child's education, and that is why I think we as opposition should win this debate. Thank you.
The judges to note that the speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 33 seconds.
Thank you, teams. Now I'd like to invite you to join the audience. We request the judges to come up on stage and address the audience while we wait. Yes. I would like to call our respected Vice Principal, Mr. Mukul Sharma, to address the audience.
Thank you. Oh, what a great morning to begin with, right? So, sparking and scintillating debates in the morning. Anyways, we are still left with the final thing, and while sitting there, simply two observations I'll say, and I hope the final teams which they come here, they try to incorporate over a short notice only. Now, these are the very simple general points. I'm sure you must be knowing it beforehand also, but it was an observation, so I'm just making it. Number one, ChatGPT. Get it the information from there, but try to personalize it, modify it. It shouldn't be seen or noticed or observed as you are speaking somebody else's speech. It should be your trademark. And secondly, as far as possible, do not read. Many of you have spoken themselves just glancing at the paper. I think that's the way. Simply taking the paper and reading, anyone could do it. So these are my, I'll say, two main observations, but all of you did a great job. For everyone. Thank you.
I would now request Bubbles ma'am to come up on stage and address the gathering.
While we wait for the finalists' names to be announced, Jaspal ma'am, how long? I would request, as we call out the names of the finalists, the two teams which have made it into the final round, Babita ma'am will be standing at the main door. You will immediately get up and follow her to a room where you can prepare for your side of the motion. And you will also know whether you're speaking for or against the motion. So immediately get up as we announce your team name or your names. Is that clear? And Babita ma'am will be taking you to a room where you will prepare for 15 minutes and come back here for the final round. And as far as the topics were concerned, they were very debatable topics chosen with a lot of care by us, and I'm not taking any sides because it's a debate. There are no right and wrong answers here, but the way you project your views, and there are certain established formats for a debate. The first speaker of side proposition will always establish the motion. Establishing the motion means the line of arguments have to be sustained within that much. The other side cannot take it into other directions. So that onus is always on the side proposition first speaker. He establishes the motion. This is how we are looking at it. This is the perspective that we have on this, and this is how the entire debate will go. They give it a direction. Whether the other side likes it or not, they have to follow that. They cannot be taking it into different directions and trying to redefine the established motion. Okay? So please keep that in mind, the team that has gone into the finals, that do not hijack the established motion. The side proposition first speaker establishes it, that this is how we are going to be arguing the whole thing. So side opposition follows that lead and opposes what they are saying. They cannot hijack it and take it somewhere else. Okay. Okay. So Team A and Team C have made it into the finals. Team A is this one. This is Team C, no? C. Team A is this one. ये क्या नाम है? Kriday Khanna, Arnav Thakur, Zinia Barar, Team A, and Team C. Rinaz Gulati, Amaira Bansal, and Rubaya. Please follow Babita ma'am. Please take your place at the main gate. And please follow ma'am and be back in 15 minutes. We would love to hear your points of view. Meanwhile, the audience remains in silence. And I'm going to invite Sonia ma'am to come up on stage. As you all know, Sonia ma'am is a lawyer. She understands the way arguments should be made to win a case. And I request her to come and share her views with us about this morning and the two topics that we had. And after that, we will be inviting any child from the audience to share their thoughts on the two topics that were debated. If they have some strong views on it, they are most welcome to come up on stage and share their views. Sonia ma'am, please come.
Good morning. What a vibrant exchange of ideas in the morning. So yeah, as Bubbles ma'am said, that as we are doing debate for and against, we also have a moot court in legal studies or in law, in which a case is given to you and you present your arguments, whether you put the accused behind the bars or you save the person. So just like that, the first most thing that I noticed today was the topic for debate. First, we understand the topic. That is the real thing. Like in moot court, we have to understand what the case is. Is it a civil case, it's a criminal case, or it's a family law case? Second thing, in which court the case will go. So in debate also, we understand the topic and then we prepare our arguments. And debate is not about winning the argument. It's also about learning to listen, to reason, and to express ourselves clearly. As Mukul sir mentioned that most of us were reading. I think reading is not required when you're prepared. And you should have knowledge, and the arguments you present should be backed by evidence. That is the most important thing, and also which is similar to that we have in moot courts. So, to all the debaters, well done. With each performance, we learn. It doesn't matter who wins, who loses. What matters is that what we take from here today. It should be something valuable, right? So, in the end, I say that growth happens with every performance. Keep debating, keep questioning, keep striving for excellence, and all the best for your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The audience is requested to maintain silence, and anyone who would like to share their views on the debate is encouraged to come up on stage and do so.
Well put, and the points were very well coherently and well spoken by the members. But I did disagree with Team B on some points in the first topic. When they said that to really care about environmental sustainability on a national level, you have to be coming from a, sort of moral superiority sort of standpoint. I don't really agree with that because it's actually opposite. Because the people who truly suffer the consequences from environmental degradation, they are the people who are not as privileged as us. They come from, sort of financially lower backgrounds, and they're really suffering the consequences much more than any one of us could ever imagine. So coming from superiority standpoint, I feel like it's the opposite, because you get to come here and say that it's not that big of a problem when it really is. When you go to the areas where there's slums and people don't even have clean water to drink or bathe or anything, then you truly understand what the environmental issues really are. But just sitting in your homes and not really understanding where the root of the problem is, you can't really say that you don't have to put these issues above all else. Of course, a lot of issues are there, but if we care about, the common people of our country first, we can sort of, try to collectively solve these issues together. So I feel like environment definitely is an important issue, but otherwise the debate was very well put.
Thank you so much. Believes that it is better to be a wizard than a superhero. From side proposition, I invite Team A to the stage. The first speaker is Kriday Khanna, the second speaker is Arnav Thakur, and the third speaker is Zinia Brar. From side opposition, I invite Team C to the stage. First speaker, Rinaz Gulati, second speaker is Amaira Bansal, and the third speaker is Rubaniyat Sahi. Now, we begin by inviting the first speaker from side proposition to lay the foundation for the debate.
Good morning. I am the first speaker from side proposition on the motion. This house believes it is better to be a wizard than to be a superhero. So, I will be starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Good morning to the house at large. First of all, what is a wizard? A wizard is someone who undergoes years of training to refine his skills and expertise in his own field. First, acquired skills through hard work. A wizard acquires skills through hard work, unlike superheroes who have acquired skills unconventionally. For example, a superhero can just get his skills in the snap of a fingers, whereas wizards have to train years with determination to actually achieve something. A wizard channels his energy through arcane objects like trinkets and staffs, whereas superheroes don't value their powers because they may get it by mistake. Wizards are revered in society because of the skills they have acquired through hard work and determination. For example, Dumbledore endured years of training to be one of the most feared wizards, whereas superheroes just get their power accidentally, maybe.
POI.
Yes.
You're saying superheroes get their powers accidentally, but what about Iron Man, who actually gained his skills through the knowledge that he acquired?
Okay, so first of all, Iron Man built a suit. He didn't gain anything. He built a suit through which he got powers. And of course, he's rich, that's why he has so much. A typical wizard gains his power through study, while superheroes like Hulk, who gain strength from a gamma radiation accident, this shapes how they operate. Wizards often function within secretive communities like magical schools like Hogwarts, of course, while superheroes are usually forced to integrate into ordinary society. Wizards have powers that are very, very versatile. They have access to nearly boundless knowledge and must keep learning. Thus, gives them incredible freedom. They can combine spells creatively, layer protective wards with offensive magic, and keep evolving their abilities over time. A superhero's power is like a locked toolbox, strong but with only one tool inside. A wizard's mind is the entire workshop. My second argument is about how it is more ethically justified to be a wizard. Ultron was created by Tony Stark to protect the world, and he almost destroyed it. Thousands died when he left the city of Sokovia, and no one could stop him until half the city was in ruins. On our side, wizards are solving problems through knowledge-oriented magic designed to specifically impact the villain. Superheroes throw punches and hope the buildings don't fall. Wizards cast spell and know exactly what they're hitting. It is likely that their enemies will also use some kind of brute force, and the villain may not be responsible enough to prevent civilian harms. Take, for example, The Dark Knight, where the Joker responded to Batman's attacks by bombing the whole city. That is why I believe that it is better to be a wizard than to be a superhero. As Albus Dumbledore said, it doesn't matter what someone is born into, but what they grow to be. Thank you.
The judges to know that the speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 32 seconds.
Thank you, side proposition. We now move on to the first speaker, side opposition.
I will be starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Would you choose to be someone who was born with power or someone who actively chooses to help others? Greetings to the House at large. I, Rinaz Gulati, the first speaker against the motion. This House believes that being a wizard is better than being a superhero. Panel, superheroes aren't born into power. They struggle. They face so much trauma to get where they are. Wizards are born into power. They hide behind shadows. They only choose to protect others when they deem fit. Personally, I would rather choose to be someone who leads by example. And that's exactly what superheroes do. They show that being in a difficult circumstance does not mean that you can just take a back shift. It means that you have to go out there. You have to lead others. You have to show them how to protect others. I will be focusing on two main arguments. Relatability, who we as individuals are more likely to want to become. Choice. Wizards, accepted.
How can you claim that wizards are born into power and they have not refined their skills through years of discipline and determination?
I'm not saying that they haven't refined their skills. Of course, they have refined their skills, but unlike superheroes who acquire their powers at a later stage, wizards are born into power. That's what I'm trying to say.
Follow up.
Denied. Choice. Wizards don't have a choice, whereas superheroes actively choose to protect others. Relatability. Superheroes show us that it's okay to be flawed. That even if you commit mistakes, even if you made a terrible blunder, you can still get back up. You can still show others what it is to come back from a failure. They show us that it's okay to make mistakes. They show us that being a leader is not just about the power. It's about how you utilize it. They show us what it is to be a human. Humans are flawed. And they show us that it's all right. Choice. Superheroes aren't born out of power. They are born out of circumstances, whether they be bit out of a radioactive spider or something else. Iron Man built his own suit even in a cave when he could have just sat. They don't have, secondly, the superheroes don't have ministries or magical laws restricting them. So, go.
Okay, so don't you agree that Iron Man only built the suit for survival and not particularly to help people?
But he did later on help people with that suit.
they don't have any ministries or magical laws guiding them, so they can do whatever they want to do without any restriction, thus helping them to further help other people. They are born from trauma, so they show us that our past doesn't matter, that it's about our okay.
So, wizards, on the other hand, are trained in ethics and magical laws, while multiple superheroes have gone rogue. So, how do you justify that?
Voldemort has also gone rogue, so that's the exception, not the rule. Superheroes show us that it's not the past that matters, it's the future. It's who we choose to be every day. In conclusion, our motive is not to declare who's better. It's to prove that being a superhero is better than being a wizard. We as humans would want to be someone who chooses to be better each day. This debate is not about fantasy as fiction. It's about our values as humans and what we choose to be. Thank you.
Judges to know that the speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 9 seconds.
Thank you, side opposition. Now calling upon the second speaker from side proposition.
Good morning to all. I'll be starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. As explained by the first speaker, wizards are better than superheroes in every way possible. First, coming to adaptability. Well, wizards do not have any specific superpower but can acquire any through magic and spells and trinkets as explained by the first speaker. Coming to my second point, wizards take time. It takes years to become a wizard, but to become a superhero, you can become a superhero when you are born. For example, Thor, who became the god of thunder. Yes.
How do you justify the elitism in wizarding societies? I don't think anyone would want to live in an unequal world.
Can you repeat your POI?
How do you justify the elitism, the classism in wizarding societies? No one would want to live in an unequal world.
Well, classism only exists in this society because wizards have taken years to reach where they are, and not like superheroes like Hawkeye who have been there and do nothing. You can become a superhero from birth, making your life easier. You can perform any task in any time and can live a simple life. Whereas wizards are more versatile and more adaptive in any way. And the greatest sorcerer supreme of all time controlled the proclaimed Dark Lord Voldemort for a lot of time. And whereas the whole Avengers couldn't even defeat Thanos and they had to make an entirely different movie for that.
POI?
Yes.
You just stated that wizards are adaptive, but again you mentioned that there is classism and elitism. You agreed to our point that there is classism and elitism within the wizarding community.
Well, the side opposition is not understanding my point that they have trained for years to reach where they are. I'll continue with my speech. A typical wizard gains power through study and disciplined practice, while superheroes often acquire theirs by chance, like the Hulk who gained strength from a gamma radiation accident. A superhero's power is like a log toolbox, strong but with only one tool inside. A wizard's mind is the entire workshop. Every spell they learn adds another tool to the bench. Take away the villain and a superhero life becomes painfully ordinary, but a wizard, he's still mastering 100 spells just for fun. Thank you.
The judges to know that the speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 26 seconds.
Thank you, side proposition. Second speaker, side opposition, you now have the floor.
To quote Spider-Man, specifically Uncle Ben, with great power comes great responsibility. This reminds us that heroism is about the choices you make, not the family that you are born into. Greetings to the August gathering at large. I am Amira Bansal, the second speaker for side opposition. This debate is not about flashy powers or cool costumes. It's about who you'd rather be, who offers the kind of life, the kind of power, the kind of meaning that really matters. The proposition wants you to believe that wizardry is the ultimate dream. Secret councils, endless study-controlled power. But that's just a fairy tale, a comfortable fantasy. We are here to tell you why, when push comes to shove, you'd rather be a superhero than a wizard. I will be doing the following for you today. I'll be rebutting the proposition's case, I'll build our case further, and the Starting off with our rebuttals, the proposition might have and has come and said, number one, wizards earn their power. That is not true. Most wizards are born magical, handpicked by fate, luck, or bloodlines. It's privilege, it's not merit. Superheroes, on the other hand, come from all walks of life. They don't inherit their power. They choose to rise, often through all that trauma, all that pain, and all those accidents. That choice to stand up in a broken world is the true mark of power. Number two, wizards are regulated and accountable. They say wizardry has laws, councils, and rules, but what's hidden behind those rules? Secret elitism, exclusion. An example is Hermione Granger, probably one of the smartest wizards ever, but she was called a mudblood. She was discriminated. Is this the kind of world that the proposition is striving for? Superheroes, they're in the public eye. They get questioned, and that helps them grow. Declined. They don't get to hide behind the bureaucrats. They are held accountable every single time they step outside the door, and that is what helps them grow. Number three, superheroes act out of trauma. Yes, superheroes come from a lot of pain, but so do wizards, and that is the point. They don't have the luxury of ignoring reality or hiding in libraries. They live with the trauma, and they still choose to protect others. That's resilience, that's humanity, that is the kind of life that I am striving for. Let me show you why you would want to be a superhero and not a wizard. Number one, superheroes actually earn their powers through choice and not birthright. One of the most powerful reasons to want to be a superhero is that their journey starts with a choice. Unlike wizards who are simply born there, they have to grow, they have to develop. But superheroes, even with all the pain, the trauma, the accidents thrust upon them, they choose to save people. And that is the kind of person that I want to be. Number two, they use their powers to actively save lives in real times. Superheroes don't wait for magical councils or permission slips. When disaster strikes, when people need help, they jump into action immediately. Being a superhero means you're on the front lines, stopping a speeding train, pulling someone from a burning building, or facing danger head on. There is raw, urgent impact to that kind of power. It's thrilling, it's vital, and it's deeply meaningful. This immediacy connects you to the real world and the real people you protect. And last but not least, superheroes are deeply human. They struggle, they grow, and they still choose to protect. Unlike perfect, untouchable wizards, superheroes are beautifully imperfect. They mess up, they fail, but along with all of that, they grow. They have humanity in them, and that is why everyone here would want to be a superhero. They have the good, they have the bad, they have the messy, but they're still stepping forward to make a difference. That kind of resilience and that kind of authenticity is something that anyone would want to embody. This isn't a debate about fantasy, it is simply about values. Do you want a life of hidden, exclusive power where you struggle to stand up? But a life where you can be flawed but brave, visible to the world and ready to make a difference. We choose the messy, we choose the real, and we choose the courage. We choose to be superheroes. Proud to oppose. I'll be taking POIs now.
Spider-Man killed the man who killed Uncle Ben. Don't you think this is a bad example for a kid? And superheroes do go rogue more often than wizards.
To answer that, when Spider-Man killed Uncle Ben, he was suffering from trauma. But can I talk about the countless times that he's helped people? Like Spider-Man, he killed someone and that was one of his deepest regrets. He grew up and he helped millions of more people. And for your question that superheroes go rogue, I don't think so. There's an entire wizarding community called the Dark World that actually go and they attack wizards and they try to head first attack citizens. Is that the kind of world that you are striving for?
Follow up?
Judges to please note that the speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 32 seconds.
Thank you. We now progress to the third speaker side proposition.
Honorable adjudicators, my worthy opponents, and the esteemed members of this House, good morning. I proudly stand here as the third speaker for side proposition and strongly believe that wizards are better than superheroes. The other side went on to say that superheroes promote the idea of meritocracy. But panel, most superheroes are either born special or get lucky accidents. Radioactive spiders, alien births, billion-dollar inheritances, hardly meritocratic. Wizards may be born magical, but their success depends entirely on what they learn, how hard they study, and how ethically they apply it. Not taken.
Wizards are educated into greatness. They're not gifted. You don't become powerful just by being born magical. You become powerful by understanding magic, working at it, and respecting its limits. That's a far stronger model of merit than getting zapped and hoping for the best. If you're a regular person, you could train to become a wizard. You cannot train to be bitten by a spider. Wizards offer a structured, learnable path to power. Superheroes offer a lottery ticket. Taken.
You've often said that superheroes are born into power. What about Black Widow? What about Yelena? What about Hawkeye? They all use their skills to save people.
What about wizards like Dumbledore, who were revered in society because all of the skills that they acquired, they worked relentlessly and acquired the skills, and that is why they were known. And Dumbledore changed the society. Being bitten by a spider and just saving, it's just based a lot more on luck. Secondly, the other side went on to say that superheroes respond faster and more effectively. That's only true in specific and short-term emergencies. Yes, a superhero can catch a falling train, but that doesn't solve why infrastructure is failing. Wizards operate on systematic time.
POI.
Not taken. Instant reaction actually reflects a fragile, unstable society. Superheroes patch holes. Wizards prevent them from forming. They aren't just responders, they're architects of long-term solutions. A superhero may beat a terrorist. A wizard could make it impossible for a terrorist weapon to work in the first place. Fast isn't always better, lasting is.
POI.
Taken.
You're saying that superheroes get lucky, but isn't being born with magical powers also lucky?
Anil, we defined wizard as someone who has gained expertise in their field after rigorous training. People like Dumbledore, Gandalf, they acquired power after relentless training and hard work. The other side also goes on to say that superheroes are forces of good. They're imperfect, and they chose the messy, they chose the imperfect, and that's what the general public relates to. Sure, superheroes can aspire to goodness, but they aren't guaranteed to be good. Being labeled as a superhero doesn't inherently mean that they act ethically. Plenty have gone rogue. See, Homelander, Scarlet Witch, even Superman in alternate arcs. Morality is subjective, and power, even in superhero hands, often corrupts. This means society's blind trust in superheroes can backfire dangerously. We assume they'll protect us, but when they don't or can't, the consequences are catastrophic. Wizards, on the other hand, are trained in ethics and magical law. The systems they operate in, schools or council, explicitly teach responsibility over raw morality. Wizards are governed by structure and institutional learning. They're not just bringing it on vibes and capes. Superheroes may symbolically inspire hope, but that doesn't mean that they are more moral. Wizards can be evil, yes, but so can a human with power be. At least wizards are taught how not to be. Thank you.
Judges to note that the speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 36 seconds.
Thank you, side proposition. Now calling upon stage the third speaker from side opposition.
I'll be starting in 3, 2, 1. Imagine yourself in a scary situation. Would you rather call for a potions-making wizard or a real superhero who can save your life? Let's make it simple. Superheroes stand for justice, and there's simply no wand-waving or flying on brooms that can be compared to this superpower. Superheroes use their powers to protect, inspire, and set example within the humanity. They're symbols of hope, whereas wizards are mostly a means of fantasy escapism. Most importantly, magic can go wrong. It includes dark curses and exploitations of special magical powers, whereas superheroes deal with real-life situations and consequences.
POI.
Denied. Superheroes save lives and set examples and rise with hearts. Wizards study spells and occasionally duel. We need to put an emphasis on the fact that the world does not need another spellcaster. It needs a hero. Now I'll be presenting some points of rebuttal against the opposing team. The proposition side argue that wizards are more powerful because they can do anything with magic. Panel to please note, magic comes with rules and regulations. The other side also argue that superheroes have responsibility. Wizards have freedom.
POI.
Denied. It is the responsibility of superheroes that makes them so special and their work so admirable. They deal with real human causes, social injustice, crime, gender inequality, and therefore they take a stand for it. The side proposition has failed to understand the motion by ignoring a very clear point. Wizards are born into the magical powers. They don't choose to be good. Our team would rather prefer to be people who stand up for a cause rather than being forced to do it. And also answering the other team's POS, take Voldemort for example. Despite being such a powerful wizard, he ruined the humanity, destroyed the world. Is this really the role model the side proposition looks up to? Now I'll be focusing on the best case, worst case analysis denied. The proposition's best case is that wizards aren't flashy heroes. They solved methodically and are wiser. Our worst case is that superheroes' lives are stressful and burdened because they are on the lookout 24/7 for saving the humanity. Our worst case is still a better model because their stressful lives are what keeps the world sane, rather than ruining the world using dark powers. With this, side opposition would like to rest the case. Thank you.
Judges to note that the speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 29 seconds.
Thank you, teams. I request you to join the audience now.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams into modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No I'm not giving up, no I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help, I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable. Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help, I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
So, the second runners up is Team D, Gandhara. First runners up is Team C, Vikramashila. And the winner is Team A, Nalanda. And the best two speakers, speaker number 2, Xenia Brar. And the best speaker is Amira Bansal. Thank you and congratulations. Sure.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help, I had to do it all myself. I don't ever never slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show